I've just realised that I feel a bit out of kilter. It's because these are on the right side rather than the left side.
Yeah. So in order to try and resolve the problem of you having to ping pong between, like you're watching tennis, between Ash whilst he sat opposite me, Ash has now moved his position to here.
Right.
And then decided that we would move the microphones to this side. But that means there's now two in
my vision.
Yeah. But you're below. I mean, I'm only little, so you can still see through.
You're only little.
Little.
Yeah.
Small.
Yeah, but it's still, it's not really down to how little or big you are.
Yeah.
It's how my eye line is affected.
Do you want me to move them down?
It's a bit late now.
It's not.
But lesson learned, it needs to be on the left.
Okay.
Because if Ash is sitting opposite me, I've got nothing blocking me.
Yeah.
Nothing's blocking Ash.
He's got a point there, Ash.
So here it is. It's the podcast nobody asked for. Three guys in a kitchen, drinking coffee and having a chat.
Okay, so how are we, folks?
We are all right.
We're already in deep dialogue.
We were in quite deep dialogue.
We're not waiting for you.
We were in deep dialogue about the intensity and speed at which we all now seem to live our lives.
Oh, okay.
I think.
So what the scenario we were discussing is, yesterday I was working from home, so was both my children.
Yeah.
They're doing Zoom calls, they're doing what they need to do, and all of a sudden the internet starts to disconnect. The VPN switches off, switches on, switches off.
Yeah.
So that everybody's getting agitated because they can't do the work.
Yeah.
And I was saying that the problem is now that when you send an email, you instantly expect the person at the other end is going to read it instantly. And when you don't get an answer back, you start to think, and you start to get all agitated and anxious about why they're not responding straight away. And then Andrew's alluding to his scenario about sending something and sent it on the Tuesday and heard back by Thursday. And he's going, but you got to remember, the people have got other people to look after, other things to service. But years ago, you'd send so when we were sending quotes by post, no, but you raise your eyes.
No.
You look at it and you go, you ain't going to get a response for like a week.
Yeah.
What do you do about it?
Yeah.
You just move on to something else.
Yeah. We're all guilty of, I find it specifically in my line of work, being a gardener. Do you know how many times people will phone me up and say, can you come and cut my grass today? As if, they've got a party on Saturday. It always seems to be on a Friday. It's always a Friday morning. You'll get a handful of phone calls, always in the middle of summer, particularly June, July time. I find it because it's handover back to the landlord for a student rent. So you'll get them phoning, realising that part of their tenancy agreement was to look after the garden. They haven't. And so they phone me and saying, well, can you come and cut my grass today? Well, no, of course I can't. And they get so disappointed.
Yeah.
And they get I've had people sort of say it with really angrily, kind of saying, well, why not? Why can you not do it? And you just think, well, but it's because we live in this world now where if I want something, Netflix, straight away. If I want something, if I want to download a video on YouTube, I do it. It's there. And Amazon. How many times have you ordered something off of Amazon? You don't need it urgently, but it'll say order before 1 p.m. and you can have it tomorrow. And then you order it. And then as soon as you've pressed order, despite the fact that it's before 1 p.m., it'll say delivery is now not tomorrow, it's the next day. And I'll look at it, I'm like, well, that's really annoyed me. Oh, you told me I was going to get it tomorrow. Now I've ordered it. No, I don't even need it tomorrow.
No.
It's just, we just have this expectation now that everything is at our fingertips. And it's...
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
What are you laughing for?
Why are you laughing?
Well, I'm partly laughing because we were in the other room earlier on. We were chatting. And every few seconds I get this bing, bing, and it's his phone, right? And I'm thinking, is it my phone?
Does your phone bing?
Not that way.
No,
Well, then it's your phone then, is it?
His
but
phone
then-
bongs.
But then I thought, is it my phone?
Yeah.
No, it isn't. I'm feeling a little bit kind of
A bit frustrated, annoyed.
not annoyed. No,
Felt like
unloved.
your attention wasn't being fully observed.
Well, there's that aspect of it
Yeah.
too, isn't there?
Yeah.
Really, because is he really listening to me?
Well, no.
Or has he got his eye on his phone?
Did I look at it?
No, you didn't. No, but I'm just saying.
Look at it.
Do you know that's a really, and it's one of my big pet hates.
Pet hate. Yeah.
In when I have meetings.
Yeah.
If I go to a meeting and there's a whiteboard and I'm delivering something, I put on the meeting on the whiteboard when everybody walks in, please switch off your phones.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we've all sitting here with our phones on our
I was
table.
just about to say all three of us have got
Right.
our
No,
phones
I've
on
just
the table.
I've
But it's a-
muted mine.
No,
Mine's
it's
muted.
irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's psychological. If you put the phone out of sight, right? Let's try it today.
Shall we try it?
Try it today.
Out of sight.
Right, out of sight and on silent.
Okay, mine's now face down.
Okay.
And the social
Okay.
experiment.
So the point I make on that is when I have a meeting, I've got a real short time. I've got an hour, say. I need your attention for 1 hour. I can't afford you to switch off just for a second to think about something else. This is important to you as it is to me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give an hour of our time dedicated to what we're here to discuss. And if the phones are pinging and ponging and all that type of stuff, and people looking around the room, looking at mirrors and
He
stuff
doesn't
like
know what
that.
to do with himself now because there's no screen next.
Yeah, I was just looking at the microphone because I like the way yours is positioned.
Yeah.
I just wondered why.
Yeah, well, I can sort yours. We'll do
No,
that
quite
next
We're
time.
going to have them all
Yeah.
vertically above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is,
No, I completely.
so you've just linked to the microphone. That's the problem.
Yeah.
People are drawn to so many different things nowadays,
Yeah. But
but it creates stress.
it does create stress. But I think we've kind of now adapted to the new. No, I don't mean in a good way. I mean what I mean is
Yeah.
that we've, our expectations are much greater in terms of responses and being able to capture information very quickly by Googling or ChatGPT or whatever it might be.
This is what I'm saying. We have this general expectation that everything will be now. We do, in all aspects.
But do you not think we've got too much? And we talked about this when Ash was out of the room. We make that many decisions today on a multitude of different things. And when you look at it, you think, do I really want that? Do I really need that? We're so absorbed with obtaining things, acquiring things, learning things. Our brain never gets time to switch off.
No.
And I was listening to, I can't remember this actor's name, but he was saying how much benefit he gets now from meditation.
Okay.
Basically, he said, I just go into a room and I just shut the door and my family knows that don't disturb me until I come out.
And I mean, we've been through this in terms of how helpful I find mindful meditation.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a body scan thing where you can sit down, lie down. I prefer to lie down, close your eyes and just feel your body and allow your thoughts to come and go. And I still don't do it. But I know that.
I don't think I'd be lying down feeling my body.
No, not feeling
You
your
prefer
body.
somebody else to.
You see, that
But
could
no,
have been
but
a
this is what-
serious.
But I'm now imagining you lying down feeling your body.
When I said feeling my body, I didn't mean rubbing my hands.
Oh, okay.
down my-
Let's move on
Just
then.
to clarify. No.
Let's move on. I just had visions of you feeling your body, thinking that's my thigh,
No.
that's my rib cage.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay.
But mentally doing it.
Mentally, okay.
Mentally.
Okay.
So like, wiggle your toes.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
that sort.
You've done that mindfulness.
Well,
haven't you?
and I think, yes. And the other thing, in fact, Jane and I were doing this last night, talking about the power of breathing
Yeah.
and how it lowers your heart rate.
Yeah.
You know, and until you do it,
how important breathing is, because
well, we do it without. Well, we do it without thinking about it, don't we? But when you then start to think about your breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth,
Deep breaths.
yeah,
you then start to really de-stress what's
Really,
going on.
really, really crucial thing to do if you are in an instantaneous high stress situation where you really need to think about something. 3 deep breaths before you respond and react to something, because just don't think about the situation.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just
Did you do that yesterday?
Did I do that yesterday? I've been doing that constantly.
Oh, good.
Trying not to react emotionally.
Good.
Do you remember when they used to say that David Beckham wasn't very clever? And they used to
Who? Hold on, I listened to this morning.
No, I don't know if it was this morning, but they used to say that he wasn't very clever. I mean, he was a great footballer, but he wasn't very clever. And then when people used to see him with his headphones on and wondered what he was listening to,
Yeah,
it was breathe in, breathe out,
Was he actually doing that, or are you just
Breathe
taking the
in.
mickey?
breathe out.
Are we having a serious conversation, or are you being stupid again? I come here. We had a session. The last one we had was about our anniversary and what do we get out of it.
yeah.
I'm not sure Ash gets what I get out of it.
I don't think any of us know.
You know, I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if there's a puddle of water underneath where Ash sits, because he laughs that much at the most stupidest of things, his jokes and everything else, his innuendos. Yeah. So we're having a meaningful conversation and you just bring it into some kind of happy land, don't you?
Well, okay. So, I mean, I guess that one
Can
of
you
the things...
switch on in the zone that we're supposed to be in this morning?
I'm not in it yet, no.
I know you're not.
I'm not.
You're not feeling it today.
No, I'm not. I don't know what it is. Maybe...
You're in a silly mood today?
Well, I like to be in a silly mood. I think
I've arrived very early, and then
what are we talking about now? We're not talking about feeling your body again.
Oh, come on. Another innuendo that's inappropriate.
Look at the trouble that arriving early gets me in. I mean,
Yeah, well, let's not go there.
yeah.
Now Ash is crossing his legs.
That was
Right, let's move on quickly, because you've got a lot of editing to do at this rate.
clearly. I think that I arrived early. I got here,
Yeah.
Yes.
and me and Ash have had a reasonably deep conversation this morning for 45 minutes before you arrived.
Okay.
So I think maybe that's kind of...
Have we took his battery levels down to nearly depletion level?
No, because I think it was productive and healthy, and it was a good conversation. But
Yeah, it was.
it was quite heavy
Okay.
for a 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning.
So how's that affected you since then?
I don't know. I think I tell you what I'm struggling with at the moment is that, and I said to Andy, it doesn't matter if this happens anyway, but we've had a year. We've had our anniversary last...
Do you want a divorce? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, please. Can I have a fast track?
No,
Sign the papers.
forget the prenup and all that stuff. We'll go straight to divorce.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's like, I'm thinking about what we're going to talk about, right? So we had a good session last time we...
I thought we were having a good session this morning until you went off on a tangent.
But I'm just curious to know what we're gonna talk about this time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's about what we've done recently, maybe something out there in the world that's happening that we can talk, that we've talked about.
It's depressing though, isn't it?
It is very depressing. So I'm curious to know what we're gonna talk about today. What do you have in mind?
I was, when I came, I was saying to you that I wasn't feeling this morning. I was feeling a bit.
Yeah.
And listen to Jodie Mitchell coming across.
Yeah.
And we've discussed before, music suddenly just give me a bit of a
lift,
bit of a kickstart.
Yeah.
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 But then I started to think about why I was feeling like I was thinking. And as I said to Andy, it's because I've got so many things I've got to make decisions on.
Yeah.
And I can't make a decision on anything.
Yeah.
So asking Stu what we're going to talk about seems to probably be probably not the best.
No. But I know what I'm trying to articulate, probably not doing a very good job of it, is that we're all dealing with loads and loads of decisions. And when you look at those decisions, are they really important,
significant,
or are they something that you've brought into your life that's not really important, but they give something you don't need, which none of us need, which is stress,
thinking power.
Yeah.
And so do you not think in that sense, because I've been thinking a lot about this lately with different things that are going on in my mind, different situations, and for the first time, definitely in recent years, my problems don't seem to be interlinked. My problems at the minute seem to be quite sort of separate issues, which is quite good in a way, because I can compartmentalize the different things that are going on in my life.
Yeah.
But we all can, can't we? If you really tried to, just like kind of, you spoke about, possibly getting a new car.
Yeah.
And,
which I don't need, by the way.
Decisions, but you can box that, can't you? Because that can be one single thing.
Yeah.
You can deal with at one time. You don't have to deal with it all at the same time.
But what we can, but what I'm focusing on purely for me is I'm introducing things into my decision-making process, my thought process that I don't need, but I think I need them, but I don't. And what that does is brings on loads and loads of stress. When you look at the world we're dealing with, everybody's got the same challenges every day. Some of us can handle them, some of them can't. And we're just bringing more and more stuff onto us because we're just bombarded with, you were asking what we're going to discuss today. I don't want to discuss what's going on in the world.
No. Definitely.
Because the world is just in such an unstable place, right? That everywhere you're faced with, everything's going out of kilter, everything's going out of control. There's no common sense. There's just, is there some big agenda that I'm not aware of? I mean, as stupid as it sounds, this morning I met a guy and I was talking to him, really nice Scottish guy, and he was talking to me about, he went to the pub last night and the atmosphere was changed. It wasn't like it used to be. And he went to another pub and that was totally different. It was a really nice vibe. And we were just then talking about the cost of everything. Everybody's now focused so much on cost, and I'm not saying that's never been the case, but more so now because everything is so expensive.
This is interesting that you should say that, because this year for me in business has been dead, and I've been really trying to figure out what it is that's going on, because yes, it's been hot and dry and that affects what I do. When you're in the business of cutting grass, hot, dry, sustained weather for 12 weeks is not ideal. I mean, how many times have I cut your grass this year, Ash? 4 times.
Can't remember.
It's not a lot
No.
in comparison to how much I normally would. So that's one thing that's affected it. But then good weather would normally mean that I get extra work coming in from people wanting to do that kind of, have their garden tidied up or whatever. And I'm thinking, is it because people haven't got money? And
I think they've got money. They just have to be conscious of where that money's being spent.
Yeah, and I spoke to somebody. It was a taxi driver. One of my customers is a taxi driver, and I asked how he was doing, and he said he's dead. He said he's done one airport run since the start of the summer holidays.
Wow,
one. And I've had a couple of Ubers over the last couple of weeks, and speaking to them, they all seem to be the same. People aren't going out.
But do you know what's really interesting about the taxi scenario is the difference in price is dramatic. Absolutely dramatic.
Between a black cab and an Uber, you mean?
So we booked a black cab kind of arrangement to go to the airport, and that was £70 one way.
Wow.
Yeah.
So from yours to East Midlands?
From my house to Birmingham. Was £70 for 3 of us. Okay. On the way back, Lisa says that unfortunately the company we used couldn't pick us up because they were fully booked. It's fine. I'll get an Uber.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to the quick drop-off point at Birmingham Airport, order an Uber from there when we got there, 43 quid.
Mm. Mm.
I mean, that is 20 or nearly 50%.
Yeah. But one of the reasons why Uber is so much cheaper is because there are so many people doing Uber.
Correct.
So they've got so many drivers that Uber's algorithms work out sort of how many drivers they've got. And so Uber are almost ripping off their own drivers, because if they've got a surplus of drivers in the area,
they're all competing.
They'll just push because they know that their drivers are going to have to take that work, because the supply and demand
there's certainly more going on. So you look at that as a typical example of what we're all being faced with, is that element. But it all comes back to the fact of, obviously, the tax at the airport was something that I needed to spend. It's a necessity. But we're all faced with loads of different decisions of spending stuff and doing stuff. And you just got to think, how many people actually question themselves? Do you really need it?
Mm.
Do you really have to go and buy that today? I don't think we do. We just think, well, let's go and do it.
Yeah.
And then when you buy it, you then think, shit, I've just spent that money and now it's another bill I've got to find. So we're creating all these different stress points that, frankly, we don't need. And when you listen to these wise men and women and who explain what's important and what's not important, materialistic things aren't important.
I'll throw something else out there with this.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously this year's not been good for me financially speaking. So I'm not in a I'm doing something on purpose, not for the podcast, but well, no, it kind of is.
He's getting his wallet out.
No, yeah.
No, I thought it was undoing his belt, but
no, I'm
pinching him.
Yeah,
Someone was pinching him.
maybe. I'm not doing great financially speaking this year. It's been very, very difficult. Probably the most difficult in the 15 years that I've been running my business myself. Probably is the most difficult, which is stressful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then I do something to relieve my stress, and I smoke.
Okay.
But this packet of fags now is
15 quid?
16. This was £16.
I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
But the more stressed I am about money,
The more you smoke.
the more I smoke.
And the more you smoke, you need to go and get some more
So
cigarettes.
I used to be probably on about 15 a day. The last couple of months, few months, I've probably been on nearer 30 a day.
Okay.
So that means I'm now spending £24, is that right? Something like that, 20 odd quid a day on fags. That's how much in a month? 20 times,
That's over 400 quid.
20 times 30, it's more than that. It's 600 quid, isn't it?
It's £20 a day.
Yeah.
That's 140 a week.
Yeah, so it's £600 a month.
£520.
Yeah.
£480.
And I'm worried about money.
Yeah.
But to be less stressed, I'm smoking.
I mean,
Causing myself more stress.
you just look at that, right? £480. That was as much as my mortgage was when I first bought my house.
You could get I could probably get a mortgage for £480.
But you see what I'm saying?
But that's an example of my own admission. What a stupid thing to do.
There's that, and if you want to drill down even further, is your alcohol.
Yeah.
I went out last night. I'm not a big drinker. I'm actually probably teetotal, kind of, such in so many ways. I had 1 pint last night. It's 5 quid.
Yeah.
I was with people that had 6 pints. Right?
That's 30 quid. And they probably do that 3 or 4 times a week.
Every week. And they're going out for meals 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Right?
But those are two things that you've mentioned that have the government applies taxes on those
Correct.
2 items. Your smoking one, the increase in that was designed to stop people smoking, right?
Yeah.
And no, to a large extent, I believe that it kind of worked, but then you've got vaping that's come into.
I think that my main issue with what you've just said there, Ash, is we all know it's a drug.
Yeah, I know.
And unfortunately, when you have a habit, putting the price up doesn't solve the problem.
It doesn't. Do you know what? I had a very, very interesting conversation. I went to the gym last night and I went into the shop up the road just to get a drink on my way home. And really nice guy in there. And there was a guy just in front of me who had only just got up. This was at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. He'd only just got up and he'd gone in and he'd bought 2 cans of high strength lager.
Yeah.
And we were just discussing how horrible that is. That obviously I've had my issues with alcohol. They've been, they've fluctuated, but I've never been at that point where I've woken up at 6 o'clock in the afternoon and then gone to the shop and, clearly he was still drunk from whenever he went to bed and he's buying more alcohol. And we got onto the topic of the financial side of it.
Yeah.
And we were both saying how the government are taxing alcohol and cigarettes, but the government will also give people money. So, this particular person, we happen to know because of conversations that the shopkeeper has had with him, he's not homeless. He's got a place where he lives.
Yeah.
The government each month or each week are giving that person money. And that person, you always, no matter how much I struggle financially, I will still buy those fags.
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't want to.
No.
I know I shouldn't be doing it. And I feel guilty about doing it because I'm not paying other things as a result of buying that. And my daughter, just yesterday, my daughter wanted money, pocket money. And we kind of changed the dynamics of how much I was going to give her, when I was going to give it to her. And I did feel bad when I said to her yesterday, I said, look, I've got this much, I'm going to give you this much. At the minute, that's pretty much as far as I can go. And she did say, yeah, but I bet you've got fags.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
But that's not quite black and white, because just being able to give my daughter money willy-nilly isn't a good thing either. It's just a case of prioritising. I shouldn't be spending the money on the fags, but I shouldn't then also be giving my daughter the money that I'm not spending on the fags just because.
I think having spoken to people at the Salvation Army, and I understand how that model works and what they do for members of society. For me, your point about I'll find the money to find those cigarettes and they'll find the money to find those beer, and the way they get their money is by social security methods. They get a handout every week.
Primarily, yeah.
I think the government have a responsibility that they're not adhering to.
Yeah.
What they should be providing is a card system, a mechanism where shops can accept this card for everything except alcohol and cigarettes.
This is identical to the conversation I was having with that shopkeeper last night. Identical. He said, is there not a way that you could, like a food voucher kind of thing, like that money can only be spent on certain things. But the problem is that you only need the unscrupulous shopkeeper, the ones who are prepared to sell fags, vapes, alcohol to underage children. Those shopkeepers, if you implemented that system, okay, you wouldn't get away with it in Asda or Tesco or anywhere like that, but you would get away with it on your corner shop where they will scan a slice of bread and give you a can of beer anyway. So is that going to solve the problem?
Well, I don't know. I've got a solution to that, but it's a contentious point that's just in the press this week about identification cards. And it's very simple. It's extremely simple to me how to fix the problem. And by that is we got to remove all these different points of reference. So we've got a driving license, we've got a national insurance number, we've got an NHS number, we've got a driving number. We don't need any of that.
Just have one thing.
We need one.
Yeah.
And when you go into the shop, if you find yourself on social security, you have that same number. And when you go into a shop, that number's recorded against that shop. And that shop then has been recorded about what it sold Andrew, Stuart and Ash. So you remove that possibility, as far as I can think about it, you remove that possibility of unscrupulousness because it's all tracked.
Yeah.
The difficulty is that word tracked. People don't want to be monitored, analysed, because it's a form of Big Brother. But unfortunately, that's how society's going.
You see, I think we've kind of gone past the argument of being monitored and analysed by how much information is collected by our phones, things like that. People who've got an argument of, I don't want the government to be tracking what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But Google are doing it. Google know exactly where you are, what you're doing, who you're with, but you've got a problem with the government doing it. That's like, you allow these companies to do it because you're getting something out of it.
Well, if you go back to your cigarettes, do you remember when you went on your holidays abroad, 1970s? What was the plane like?
Oh, yeah. Smoke.
You used to be able to smoke on a plane.
You could make smoke on planes.
Yeah.
So I remember the day, was it the mid-80s, Ash? I can't remember, when the cigarettes were banned on planes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And you think people who were 20 a day, 30 a day, thinking, I've got to fly to Greece, it's 3 hours and I can't have a cigarette. But guess what?
They do.
Because they want a holiday.
Prioritising, isn't it?
But that was funny because two things. One is that there was a non-smoking area on the plane.
Even though the air is circulating around the plane. So it's the same air.
And the second thing is that the one airline that resisted no smoking completely for some time after it was completely banned or whatever was Olympic Airways.
Greece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't get them to stop smoking.
Yeah.
Can you smoke on a private plane?
You do what you want on a private plane.
So you can't smoke on a private.
Yeah, you just can't do it on commercials.
Yeah.
You said you can have a smoke in a private members club.
Can?
Yeah, it's a private members club. It's nothing to do with the members of the public. It's same as your house. You can smoke in your
You
house.
can smoke in your house, yeah. I never do. I've never.
No, but the point is, it's private. It's yours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is, people have a choice, right?
Mhm.
When you don't have a choice, that's when people start to push back, because then they start feeling oppressed, right? You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So if you take your cigarettes, we take your alcohol, we take them in the house, there's rules and regulations about it now. The government have just announced 16-year-olds are going to be allowed to vote. Well, that's what they're trying to push through. What a ludicrous, in my opinion, ludicrous
I
point
agree.
about. At 16 years of age, right, if you grab 100 kids and ask them who is the Prime Minister of Great Britain, some will know Keir Starmer. Right? If you ask them the Prime Minister of America, they will know it's Donald Trump.
Yes.
Right? Ask them about what the policies are and what they're looking to do and how they're implementing stuff. They will not have a clue because they don't care. They're not affected by it.
Do you know
Do you think people over 18 care?
No.
less and less?
No. And that's what I'm saying. So you've got even less people.
And it's not going to change anything because you know what? The only 16 or 17-year-olds that are actually going to exercise that right to vote are probably going to come from political families or families that have got a strong interest in politics. Like, I imagine, knowing the boys, your boys probably at 16 would have exercised their right to vote. But it only would have been a vote for the party that you would have voted for anyway. So as a household, you were never, it's not changed anything.
No.
You've just multiplied the numbers. All you've done is increased the numbers.
Yeah.
And I don't think you've actually, it's not going to, allowing 16, 17-year-olds to vote isn't going to change anything. It's not going to change election results because the only 16, 17-year-olds that are going to vote in the way that they're...
I mean, I don't know the argument for or against this. I don't know what it is. But, I mean, they do have it in Scotland, don't they? 16.
I don't
think
No,
they
I
do.
think they do.
I might be wrong there. But
what I would be interested in now is what the impact of that has been there.
I'll tell you what it gives me. It's another pressure point to put on a young person. You may not think it,
It's another thing that...
but they've got to make a decision on it.
And it's probably another thing that we're then going to have to start educating children. Not that necessarily might be a bad thing, having political conversations in school, but it's another thing that schools are probably going to have to deal with.
So would you make voting mandatory?
You can't make it mandatory.
I'd go the other way. I'd say that there's some people that shouldn't be allowed to vote. Some people just shouldn't be allowed. I mean, some people shouldn't be allowed outside their house.
But no, I'm being serious. To me, having that opportunity to vote is a fantastic democracy.
Yes.
Okay. And people don't understand, in my opinion, or value what that gives you.
So you're thinking like the use it or lose it kind of?
No, not lose it. You have to vote.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is that if we as a society don't exercise our right,
Well, then you go to
collectively,
communism.
So we will lose the right if we don't.
If you're not having a vote on how this country's run, it's communism.
Yes, exactly.
What I'm saying is you have to vote, because I get frustrated and probably angry and annoyed at people who have a lot to say about the state of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And
But don't vote.
you ask them, I don't care who they voted for, but I ask them, did you vote? Oh, no, I can't be bothered. It's a waste of time. Well, please don't share your views then.
But I think we are very privileged to be able to vote.
Yeah,
Which then makes a decision on how and who runs our country.
absolutely.
I agree that that's a privilege. I don't think you can demand that everybody votes, but what I would appreciate is people to be encouraged to vote. And you do that by better education, better awareness and knowledge about different parties, different politics, different policies, and all that kind of stuff. And that information, that awareness to be given from respected and trusted resources to educate people,
But that
to
goes
determine who to vote for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can come from schools, right? To start with, from that, it can come from, like I say, trusted kind of resources, even if it's newspapers, right? Newspapers who have their own political leanings and stuff, but at least people read them. They can, appreciate the different policies and stuff like that, and make their decisions based on that. The problem we've got is that politics now is being worked out, or I don't know what the term is, but it played out, if you like, on social media. Right. And people, like you said, that, they can talk as much as they want, but they won't vote. And they will make comments that normally in face-to-face situations they would never make. But they make them because it's online, and they can be abusive and be, contradictory in a lot of ways. But unfortunately, because of things like algorithms and stuff like that, people become used to this, what they call the echo chamber. Yeah. So if you believe and click on something, you'll then get bombarded with those. That's not allowing people to make their own judgments. It's not allowing people to research their own kind of ideas. And I don't know if we are unique in the sense that I think generally our population isn't that interested in politics. Yeah. In the past, I would say when we were younger and we were involved in politics on a more active basis, rather than just sitting back and chatting about it or this. I think places like Spain, probably Italy, were far more political. The population were far more aware of politics.
Do you think
compared to what we were?
Yeah, I think also the world, and we've said this numerous times, and it's obvious, the world has changed beyond all recollection to the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah.
In the 70s and 80s, it was two parties.
Yeah.
You're either Labour or Conservative, right? And they were very much north and south. Whereas now you've got so many different factors coming in with different views, different opinions.
Now, I was going to go the other way in saying that. I was going to say, do you think that the engagement in voting comes from the fact that essentially we only have two parties? Do you not think that people, and because, okay, you've just said north and south, yeah, the two main parties that we've got in this country do now seem to be very, very close together in terms of how far left and right they are. In fact, they're almost identical. They just kind of swap over
they argue
left and a little bit right.
For my view on that, they argue for the sake of arguing.
Yeah.
Because they argue for the sake of arguing. They don't have a policy. They will, if you say, I'm going to move that to a yellow buzz, a yellow world, the other part will go, we're going to move it to a green. Not for any other reason, but just to object to what they're doing. And I think politics needs to be a lot more intelligent than that. There needs to be some substance behind all the policy and the procedures, not to just do something to antagonise the other party. It's like watching kids in the playground.
But that's where I think having more political parties is a benefit. More political parties that are going to actually get votes and potentially have seats in Parliament and make a difference. Having more parties gives a more wider
representation.
So at the moment,
you're quite right that the two parties, the parties that we've been aware of all along, have become so similar, right? Because both of them are going for the middle ground of politics, because that's where the majority are in a way, and that's the only way that you can get. If you can bring them to you, the middle ground, that's the only way that you get into power, right? And because the consequence of that is that, like you say, they are so similar, right? That's why you've now got party like Reform that's come into play, because they want to see more things to the right, not central. Yeah. They want it more to the right. And you've got Corbyn and Zara Sultana, who have now just launched a new party, which is further to the left.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because people are pissed off with that middle ground. They actually want more radical, one way or the other. I mean, I'd obviously go for the left, but, more radical
then you can
policies
that.
And politics, because nothing's happening down the middle.
Yeah.
Nothing's changing.
Yeah.
It will, so they want more radical policies.
Yeah.
And that's what, but going back to the whole thing about two parties and representation, there is something called proportional representation, which is a different form of
which is what we should have. in my
which is
opinion.
different,
I
which
agree.
is a different form of voting, which allows greater representation, allows more different parties within Parliament
To have a chance of
And-
winning.
But not only that, I mean, you get more kind of compromises. Maybe
Yeah.
people may have radical policies that might be, achievable, and you've got more people in Parliament, different views and stuff being represented.
But the way this current system works, unless there's a massive swing, there'll always only be two parties in the running.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what needs to change, because I think the problem is now the majority of people you speak to are so disconnected because nothing's being followed.
And the disconnection is when you get extremist parties coming in, because when people are disconnected from the main political parties, that's when they will go.
They look for.
Well, they're looking for a scapegoat.
I mean, I hate to make the example, but Germany in the 1930s, obviously the country
absolutely.
was in pieces,
Absolutely.
and this guy came along
And promised them to make them great
and said
again.
we're going to make it great.
Yeah.
But do you think there's a danger that, because you've said about, personally you would be left, I would personally be left, then you've got extremists, right? Not wanting to go into political, but don't you think it seems to be strange that the people who would probably benefit most from left-wing views seem to be the ones that are most likely to vote for the extremist right-wing views?
Yeah.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because you've got a political right party like Reform, apart from certain nationalistic views that they've got, will be of no benefit to the people who actually, the poorer working class people who should be voting left.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to. And it seems to be more your middle class your middle class people who could sit left or right are more likely to vote far left. It's a bizarre.
Yeah, it is bizarre. It is bizarre. But people, like you said, because people feel like they've been left behind in some way, or their kind of desires haven't been fulfilled by various parties, will look for parties that come by and suggest quick solutions to things,
To their problem,
and which may or may not be achievable, but the rhetoric suggests that they can, and therefore they will move in that direction. But I mean, I don't think from a left point of view, we've not had anybody that radical in government or in Parliament or in a party that has any power for it to be of any, for it to work.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, that's one of the contributors to the rise in stress. And I say that because the more you get disenchanted with stuff, and the more you start getting angry about not being listened to, and being lied to, your natural reaction is to get angry yourself and get stressed, and the whole society is boiling. You can feel it. You actually smell it and
It's
taste it.
very uncomfortable, isn't it? There is a really uncomfortable feeling about a lot of things at the minute. I see posts on social media from people who I really wouldn't expect to see it from, in terms of, immigration and things like that. People who I would not expect starting to creep into those people who otherwise I would have thought you never would have held that.
I think, sorry, Ash. Sorry.
No, I was going to say that the problem we have is this 5-year cycle of voting. Yeah. And the fact is that there is no desire to look long term for things. Because, in business, in all aspects of life, you have to have a plan that you can build towards. But if all you're doing is worried about whether you're going to get re-elected or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And therefore you kind of do things now that seem like they're a solution.
Because the public want a solution right now.
Right now. Yeah. But actually what it actually needs is a longer term scenario. And you can't get that because you've got two parties fighting against each other to try. You need more of a compromise. You need more of a joint kind of understanding so that you can take decisions that are going to be longer term.
And these decisions are going to be longer term. I used to work in the youth service. I gave up that in 2010 when Isabel was on her way. And that investment was withdrawn from the youth service across the country, primarily in Coventry and Warwickshire. They basically closed all of the youth clubs. There was no face-to-face interaction with young people, because the investment that youth clubs required was not seen by the vast majority of the public. The vast majority of the public didn't see what was going on. And then you remove that, and now down the line, you've got a bigger problem because young people are now coming through without having had that. So those young people who are now in their 20s didn't have that experience. Young people that are 14, 15 now still don't have that experience because that investment that you were making was for results that were in 15 years, 20 years time. Public don't want results in 20 years time. They want them now.
No, I disagree with that. And the reason I say I disagree with it, and I come back to Ash's comment, which I do agree with, the policies and long-term things are more important mentally if something's put down in an honest approach. For example, if you take things out of the political landscape, so they're not on the political scoreboard, be that NHS, National Health. If you said we're going to have a 20-year policy, this is what we're working towards, and all parties sign against this, that we're going to be doing this, irrespective who's in power.
So certain things that are outside... things that are just agreed.
It's the foundation of what makes this country what it is. So if you look at it and say, we're going to look at education, we're going to look at social care, we're going to look at NHS, 3 examples, and they all sign off against it. And for 20 years, they write off, that's going to be 10 billion, that's going to be 70 billion, whatever the figure is, it's irrelevant. The policies remain in place. You don't change them. You do not go in and say, that's black, that's white. No, it's black. And it's going to stay black for 20 years because we know the problems we've got and we've got to fix it. The problem I have with this is that you mentioned we want it now. I'm not bothered about having it now. All I want to see, we've acknowledged there's a problem, we're going to fix it.
And get in the right direction.
But we need to make you aware, Mr. Public, this is not a short-term fix.
Yeah.
This is a 10-year project, and this is the reasons why. And we're going to have to invest massively into it, and we need your buy into it.
Which is
interesting. We may need you to pay for it.
And that's what I'm saying. We need you to buy into it.
Yeah.
Because interestingly enough, they can do a 10-year, 15-year plan when it comes to something like HS2.
Well, and that's the
because they can't they? Because once you've,
but HS2 is a really interesting one. So that was brought in by the Conservative Party, right? If Labour were that strongly against it, when that was in the thinking stage, instead of going hell for leather against each other, come with facts, come with justification, come with a reason why we shouldn't do it. Because in business, nobody says yes straight away. Very rare. They always come with some objections, and it's your job to overcome those objections with features and benefits. So if you sit down with somebody in a meeting and you say, we're going to build a train system, we've got to update the current infrastructure because of X, Y, and Z, and the benefits are going to be X, Y, and Z, but it's going to cost the public X, Y, and Z. The problem the public have is the waste of everything that's being rolled out since I've been alive. Right? Everything goes outside of the quota. It's going to cost us 70 million. It ends up being 140 million.
Yeah.
Right? That just annoys everybody because it's bad management. In the public sector, you get away with it. In the corporate sector, you'd be sacked.
Yes.
Right? And this is where people get annoyed, they get stressed about it, they get disenchanted with it. Everybody's at the point now where they're going, do you know what? Comes back to the original point about I think everybody should vote. People go, what's the point in voting? Take Starmer. Okay, I ain't political in one way, shape or form. Okay, I do what's right for me and my wife and my kids, and I vote accordingly. I'm a swing voter. Okay, for a person to stand up and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, he hasn't covered or followed one policy. Everything's been changed. He should be held accountable, irrespective of the political landscape.
I agree.
Right, and I think what I'm pushing for, and what I'd love to see, and I don't think we've got it yet, is honest politics, where we've got politicians that aren't trying to self-develop themselves, but have a real vested interest in developing the country.
How does it work in the private sector?
In what way?
you're saying about having a 20-year plan, and I agree.
Okay.
Does your company have what?
So let me
your company have?
let me take it to a real life example.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go and sit down with a CFO or CEO and we talk about the business challenges he's got, he knows how much that company's generating a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He also knows how much they're going to provision for expansion and for growth and technology and all that stuff. When they go and present their recommendation to the board, because it's not one person, they have to go and present it to the board, they will then get told, yes, we'll do that or we won't do it. How much is it going to cost? How long is it going to take? And what's the return on investment? Okay, so we're going to invest 5 million, but we're going to get 20 million in the next 5 years because of what this is bringing, technology, performance, everything else. Get signed off. Okay. If that doesn't deliver on what that CFO has said, guess what happens?
He gets sacked.
He gets sacked. Right? Because he hasn't delivered on what has been signed off against. Right? Or he or she will move on. The biggest challenge we have across the globe is that people always change. People get moved on, right, for non-performance or whatever. That's just life. That's just business. But in the corporate world, you're accountable. In the public sector, you move sideways or you moved on a redundancy or whatever. You know what happens to the police force. You know, if a chief constable gets found to be inept or whatever, he's probably pensioned off.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In the corporate sector, you're just sacked. You're not paid off.
Can I just put a different angle to that slightly?
Yeah.
We're all aware of people in leadership roles, whether they're directors, CEOs, or whatever they are. One of the things that is important to them, because it's self-interest, is how they can raise their profile, move on up the ladder, higher and higher, right?
Yeah.
To get to the maximum wherever they want to get to. And quite often decisions are taken for a quick fix.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So that they are seen to be achieving great things in a very short space of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not too dissimilar to what we're talking about in terms of the different parties and politics.
Yeah.
Right. Where a quick fix is made so they can get the next vote in, or when it comes to in the private sector, quick fixes are made because it makes them look good.
Yeah.
And that makes them then viable and able to then move on to the next role. So it kind of happens as well. I'm not totally in agreement with you that people, when they sign off to something for 5 years, that they've got to achieve that. Yes, they've got to achieve that. But I think there's this other aspect to it as well, where people have their own self-interest.
Yeah. I know. I think you're right. I think the example I would be using is, and it's been in the press this week, is the lack of continuity in information sharing in the NHS.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Leicestershire and Warwickshire don't share electronic information.
Mm.
It's stupid.
Well, yeah,
and they've been trying to fix this for 15 years and they said they can't fix it.
Which is ridiculous because I'm sure AI could fix it overnight. I just don't.
But the thing is, that is fundamental to everybody that lives in this country.
Yeah. Maybe now that technology, as you suggested there, is developing at such a...
It'd be fantastic
that
if
it might make it more possible to do it. You're right. I think it's such a... that organisation is massive.
Enormous, yeah.
It's massive. It's probably the biggest employer of anybody in the world.
Yeah.
So don't you think, though, that you say that technology could... Don't you think that there's probably a lot of people involved in that who are protecting their own jobs and their own positions?
Absolutely.
And just selfishly And
I have that with the police force. And I think it's something that does need to be looked at. I think the problem we see is that politicians think that they are acting on behalf of their constituents when 9 times out of 10 they're not. They're looking at their own personal aspirations. Because if they spent more time in their constituents, they would get a proper feeling for how their constituents would vote. A lot of people don't realise this, that when you go into becoming an MP, the whips tell you what to do. You have to toe the party line.
Yes.
That's not politics for me.
No.
When I vote for... S&M. What's that? What's that, Ash?
It usually involves whips.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. What goes on after hours outside the parliamentary debate box? Let that carry on. But you know, it's like if I vote for somebody, I want them to represent what we want in our local vicinity, local community. When they go down to central government,
He's gone now. He's lost it.
I'm thinking of the whip. And he's standing there in his leather trousers and that.
So I think we
He
should
destroyed that then, didn't he?
I think we should bring this to a close because it'll be a conversation that we'll have
Time and
ongoing,
time
no
again.
doubt.
Having
Time and
never
time again.
been particularly political, we've just been
Yeah,
we've just
we
done
don't-
12 months worth of political
Yeah, we
conversation.
don't want to
in
kind
one
of
go there.
overemphasize politics.
So here it is. It's the podcast nobody asked for. 3 guys in a kitchen, drinking coffee and having a chat.